Okay, folks, welcome back. Now, as per usual, we're joined by Goggsy, Fraz and Stevie to discuss this time Series 5 and Series 6 of the discontinued Scottish sitcom Still Game. Now, for those of you who missed the last couple of episodes, first of all, where have you been? Secondly, it's grateful that you've actually tuned in the first place. Fashionably late, as some would say. So, in a nutshell, basically, we're rating each individual episodes from, in this occasion, Series 5 and Series 6 on a scale of this is the Bollocks, which is the best, to turn that shite off, which is pish. However, I'm led to believe that in these two series, it's kind of peak Still Game, so I doubt many will be in the bottom tiers, if any at all. As ever, we've got a description for all the episodes that we're going through, just to refresh you guys at home's memories, and also the guys we have on the panels tonight as well. So, guys, are you ready to review the next series of Still Game?
Absolutely.
Aye.
Good. All ready to go. So, Series 5, Episode 1, which is Drama. Jack and Victor learn about free whiskey tasting sessions and win a visit to a local distillery. Meanwhile, Winston is in no mood to welcome the new bookie Frankie to Craig Lang, being certain that it's his old nemesis, Stevie. What do we think about this one? A good start to the series, I thought.
Yeah, I think this was a solid one. I just love Winston getting one over the bookie in the end. Because of course it's this is the one where he is right in the Davina McCall's.
Yes, right in the Costa del Sols.
Yes, I love that bit, but it was just, I mean, the main plot and the subplot for me is absolute gold. So I think I was originally going to go with Smashing, but then I just remembered that right in the Davina McCall's. And it's got to go, and this is the Bollocks for me.
Okay.
I've got to be honest, this one actually, it was quite a slow start until you actually got into the main plot of it. Mm-hmm. But when they did hit the main plot, I was just hysterics from there on in. Just the whole, going around the distillery like 3 times, gradually getting more drunker and drunker as the day goes on was just absolutely hysterical. And I know we mentioned that Dial-A-Bus has a really good ending, but the ending on this one was really good as well, where you think Winston's got 32.5 grand in his leg, and then he ends up kicking it out the window, and the Ned runs away with it. Just absolutely brilliant. So can only be top tier for me. Fantastic episode.
Yeah. Stevie?
Oh, brilliant. As somebody who's nearly smoked their leg off, I love this episode, just as Goggsy says, for the bit at the end. Right in the Davina McCall's, biffed! It's the biff that does it for me! And then the leg just goes flying out the window, and the wee Ned at the bottom collecting all the money. Obviously, as well, when Winston and Tam hide in the toilet overnight, find Frankie shaving his head off. You're not Frankie. You're Stevie.
I think, to be honest, I think both plots in this episode are absolute belters. For me, in my top 5 episodes, I have to go with top tier for this one. Sorry, Stevie, where would you put it on the tier list?
I'm trying to. Given the episodes that we're talking about today, I'm going to put it in Smashing. I think Smashing for me.
Okay.
I think my favourite quote in the whole episode is, "What are you going to do next, Stevie boy? Your body come back as your sister."
Yeah, it's obviously they had John McCririck in the episode as well. Obviously, he's talking to Winston through the TV. So
now, Winston, now.
Oh, it's just brilliant. That puts it in a really difficult area then, because what we'll do is we'll reevaluate it at the end, but we'll put it in Smashing for now. However, I think on the basis of the episodes that we're looking at, whether it'll stay there or not by the end, we'll maybe rearrange things around.
We sort of have to adjust our expectations of
that's it.
So if good period of Still Game.
Yeah, if it needs to move up, it needs to move up. Okay, so but a really good start. I love that episode. I really, really do. So we're on to the second episode, which is called Fresh Lick. Jack and Victor put on their decorator's overalls to redesign Isa's flat. In their usual way, the two have trouble adjusting to the job at hand. Meanwhile, Tam discovers a video featuring Bobby and some scantily clad women. Very politely.
You're not
putting
Troy
that
the
there.
Gardener, you're Bobby the Batman! Oh, unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Just obviously when it starts to go Pete Tongenize his house as well. I
think that's my
think
favourite
this is the
scene out of all
Bollocks.
the still games is when they're like tripping over the paint and everything, and then it culminates in them burning the pies.
And then obviously they get it all done. And the pie the boy that was originally meant to be doing it.
Aye, Chris.
Chris supposed to. I couldn't remember who it was, sorry. Chris supposed to, when they give him the money at the end of it. I think that's just a great way to finish it.
That money was meant to be burying us.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I think it's funny. It's just when obviously they're trying to hide the tape from Bobby and the Chariots of Fire. Shug hasn't seen it. It's like, I am bursting to see it.
But no, it's like personally,
I
see
love
what.
that Charles Heston.
No, I thought it was a really strong subplot. I absolutely loved the subplot of the whole Bobby's got an alter ego of Troy the Gardener, who's a amateur porn star. It was absolutely fantastic. But I think I'm going to have to put this one in smashing, going by like what we're about to lead on to, as to be second tier for me.
For me, I'm also going to have to agree because I actually think in my opinion, the subplot carried the main plot because I'm not really a fan of whatever Isa's doing. Like Isa's like my least favorite character in Still Game. So anything that's done to help Isa, I'm just like, this can't be us. So
the neighbours, man, the neighbours, like they might hate
I
her,
know
but
the neighbours, but I just didn't really like the whole.
This is also the one where Jack and Victor, cuts off that guy's thumb in the store as well.
So excellent! Oh my god!
Goggsy's just like keep an house a shite hole. Shut up.
Aye, a lot more actually happens. Like obviously they go to like the DIY shop and then obviously they start decorating. But in the DIY scene, obviously they've got that. Is it the drill or that and or the jigsaw? And then like, think that boy will be alright. They just pack it with ice cream back. He's working on Monday.
He's walking past with a thumb up and he's like,
oh.
It's like, you're right, son. Oh. It's a shop, son. No mountain range. Where are we? For me, smashing. I would say smashing as well. Stevie, what did you? I don't think you said what you were gonna.
I would push it towards the Bollocks.
Okay.
Sorry, that sentence sounds like something totally different.
The balls.
Goggsy, did you say smashing? Was it?
Yeah, smashing.
Yeah. So what we'll do is it's 3-1, Stevie. So we'll put it in smashing for now. But as I say, I think we might have to do a wee bit of rearranging at the end. Okay, episode 3, Smoke on the Water. Jack and Victor sail in celebration of Victor's 75th birthday. The two decide, along with Winston, to sail down the local river. Unfortunately, a run-in with the local Neds means that things won't go smoothly.
The steak pigs! The steak pigs!
What's the steak pigs?
Oh man, fucking brilliant.
I think this is only one of the only one of an episode that I can think of that is actually like just one plot.
Yeah.
Because it's like, the mate, like obviously Jack, Victor, and Winston, like on the diet is pretty much the plot. Like all the characters do get involved to an extent, but it's just they three for the majority of the episode, and then obviously the Neds come later on.
I love the bit with the Neds though. I'm a pensioner. It's my birthday. Aye, well, happy birthday. We've all chipped in and bought you a telly. Boofed.
Obviously, the man of our childhood show, Raven, there, James McKenzie, playing the lead Ned on that as well. So another good guest star on the episode.
A lot of people don't actually know that though. Like you have to actually properly look at the credits. And you're like, oh, that's that boy for Raven, is it though?
Let the challenge begin.
Dropping the TV. What a contrast from our staff to
The
our TV.
way of the warrior. So,
for
guys,
me,
where would you put it on the list?
I'm going to put probably the high end of Merest Danger, to be fair.
Yeah.
I love to see the other characters getting involved, and when it's only like 3 of them, it's like kind of differs away from the whole community aspect of it, to be honest. So probably Merest Danger for me.
Yeah, I have to agree with Fraz here because although it's funny seeing all 3 of them just bicker at each other because that's all they ever do. Like I like to see Tam come in a wee bit more, or Eric, because I think Eric's the unsung hero of Still Game.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I give him.
But I'm looking at my notes for us. I've got it in Merest Danger as well, if I can get the words out there.
I think that's the 4 of us unanimous on that one. A good episode. Like, not that I'd still sit and watch it, but it's just not as good as some of the ones that we've got coming up, I don't think. But yeah, I think it's okay. It's a good episode. I totally agree with that. Okay, episode 4, Hard Nuts. Bobby the barman has a chance to be on television. Unbeknown to him at first, the programme is called Blighty's Hardest Boozers. Meanwhile, Naveed goes through some changes when he dyes his hair.
Unbelievable, man.
Still going.
Unbelievable. Oh.
Is it TV 10?
10 out of 10.
Bobby, have the McGills been it? What's good about this episode is you get to see Naveed at the shop.
Yes.
Naveed actually having some like him time. You know, when he goes to the women's tea dancing, or he has the chips, like, he's chipped, or he even goes to the bookies. Which is
Come on!
Which is obviously frowned upon, but he seems to get an act for it, and he thinks it's better than sex.
Is it Harry Hoofter 50 to 1 or something he takes?
It's the fact that, like, I like the sort of fish out of water scenes when you've got Naveed that's not in the shop and like, he's completely taken out of what would be seen as his comfort zone, and you've got him basically, as we've said, winning at the bookies. It's great. It was funny as hell to see. But so for that bit alone, that's taken it up to smashing for me because I really appreciate things that shouldn't be happening. So I would say smashing for that, and it's also this basically faking the Klansman being a hard man's pub when it's the furthest thing from it.
No, I have to agree with the whole Naveed thing. I love how, like, obviously in the other episodes, like it's like the community go to Naveed, whereas it's in this episode it's Naveed going to the community, like the bookies, the tea dance, the pub, and all that. So I'd agree with that and say smashing because, yeah, it's just different. You know.
Then Naveed gets taken out of the pub by Mina at the end.
I remember she hooks him.
Yeah.
I'm on top of the world.
That's when they're obviously filming the Blighty's Hardest Boozer at this point, and he goes, "Can I get a really large whiskey?" He goes, "We normally call that a double whiskey, Bobby, or a double whiskey, Naveed." It's like it's not a normal day, Bobby.
Tremendous, man. I'd say smashing. I agree with smashing.
I think 4 of us again unanimous on that one. I think smashing. On the verge of being this is the bollocks, but I think smashing's a good place to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, episode 5, All the Best. A sad farewell to Winston as he leaves Craig Lang for a new life in the seaside resort of Finport. Meanwhile, Jack and Victor's are chauffeurs for the day.
Just the one when Huey's dead.
Aye. And the chauffeur business ends up phoning them or something, and Jack's like, he ends up, they want the motorbike or something, and Jack goes, "Well, that's that out the window," and his wife starts because Huey killed himself by like jumping out the window. And they say she looks like Ken Dodd, and then she opens the door.
So it's funny when she's like, he often asks for you both. Is it? Or did he? Did he?
Did he?
Oh man! And then also, obviously, you get the wedding, and then Jack and Victor end up going on the stag do.
Oh, I had to go to reflection.
Reflections, aye. And they're about to leave, and then they end up drinking, like, I can't remember what the drink's called, but it's like a vodka Red Bull type of thing that they give a different name. They end up out all night.
It's
Electroid.
Electroid, that's it. That's it.
Basically a glorified Blue Wicked.
Yeah, pretty much.
Brilliant.
Vodka Red Blue, vodka Red Bull and blue balls. That's all we need at our age, eh? Blue balls.
Oh mate, I don't know where to put this one.
We said at the start, this is such peak still game at this point.
It's got to go tap.
Yeah.
So I'll just say smashing because like I can't add anything else that I'm going to be putting high end top tier because there's other episodes that I think that are better than this one.
I'm gonna go probably the high end of smashing. You know, like probably just teasing its way into top tier.
Yeah.
High end of smashing, definitely.
Yeah, to be honest, Stevie, I think again it's a case of 3-1. I think I would say smashing as well. But on the verge of being, I'll put it there just now, just for the sake of the video. But I think, when we rearrange it, I think that could find itself maybe a little bit higher as well. Okay, episode 6, which is Saucy. Francis's sister Molly comes to visit and makes a huge impression on Tam, who is in awe of his sister-in-law's tight-fistedness. Meanwhile, Jack and Victor arrange to visit Winston in Finport, but when they arrive, they find that all is not well. And obviously, the guest star of this episode, Dorothy Paul, so another big guest star on.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like go out their way to get the big names in, eh?
Yeah, they really did latterly, I thought. They really did. When people started to know what the show was about and watched on the TV, I want to be a part of that. And then obviously in the last couple of series that we'll come on to in future episodes, there's some big names that they get in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I love this. I like it. I like the fact that they make Finport out to be this pure hard place.
It's a shithole. No offence to the real Finport, which apparently was Saltcoats.
No, I'd say Saltcoats is even worse, mate. Like, did you not even see that? Are we human or are we Saltcoats? From like several years ago.
Don't this Saltcoats? That's when I get took my summer holidays away.
Well, mate, that's another form of child abuse.
God.
Wow.
That's plenty of Goggsy.
I love it, mate. I think it's class. Obviously, Tam loving the tight-fistedness as well. Like when they're in like the cafe, and Dorothy Paul just goes, "You only have seen this one before," and then she starts singing "Happy Birthday" to the wee old guy. And then they end up getting like a breakfast for nothing. And Dad starts greeting.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that the star of this episode is Michael, the guy that owns the B&B.
Yeah.
He is quality.
Get yourself
a drink with me, boys.
Get yourself a Bacardi and Coke, Bacardi and Diet Lemonade, you arse.
And then obviously we've got the famous shouting and bawling about Toasties line that
Yes.
we all have as our group chat as well, which is the guy cooks off with a depression, queerest thing I've ever seen. Ran into the water, shouting and bawling about Toasties.
You know what my favourite gag is? You know, like every time that Tam looked at Molly, he was like, "You're the lady."
Oh, yeah. You're the lady.
I'll kick his off and say this is probably top tier for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
It's another one where they go out with Craig Lang as well, but it's a solid episode, so I'm gonna go top tier. Like,
Yeah.
Aye.
Top tier.
Top tier. I was going to say smashing, but I've been outvoted. That's fine. Top tier. Not going to have any arguments with that whatsoever, to be honest. The more I look at drama sitting and smashing there, the more I think that should be moved up to top tier. But,
we can reevaluate.
Yeah.
We will.
I think we will. The more I look at drama there, the more I'm disgraced at sitting in second top. Anyway, now we move on to the Hogmanay special of that year, which is named The Party. Jack, Victor, Winston, and Isa are stuck in the Osprey Heights lift on their way to a Hogmanay party, and they reminisce about Hogmanay 1975.
Ooh.
Honestly, it's my favourite Hogmanay episode anyway. I'll set my name there and say it's definitely my favourite Hogmanay episode. It's just the fact, obviously, the Veed has just arrived over from India.
Yeah.
And they're trying to teach him all the Scottish slang by the end of the night.
You are a Bollocks.
Aye. I
Yeah,
love it.
I think this is a solid one, but I don't. For me, it didn't really fill me with that many memories as it did for, say, the full series, like leading up to this. So for me, I'm gonna put it in the top end of Merest Danger.
Okay.
I'll go smashing. I'm going to go smashing, I think. Because
Okay.
it is, for me, my favourite Hogmanay episode, so...
Can I
I've got to
thought
put it smash.
between the two? The thing that I did like about this episode was just the whole flashback, like what they looked like in 1975.
Yeah.
And then it's the bit where like, oh, do you know how I forgot that came? And then like it's Naveed and Mina. It's like you didn't recognise him because his hair's like so like combed over.
Heaven, my friend, Paroka.
Your wife make these Paroka.
And let's not forget, Tenor, Peaches. Aye,
Yes,
Peaches to you too.
It's something completely different to what Still Game had done before, and that's what puts it to smashing for me.
Yeah.
I'd agree with probably like the middle of smashing. Like
Yeah.
not like obviously like leaning towards obviously but you can determine where drama is at the end, but like middle of smashing I'd say.
Yeah. I think it's hard to argue with that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think it has to go in there. Okay. Move on to the next series, Series 6, Episode 1, which is Hot Seat. Craig Lang is in the grip of a heat wave. Jack and Victor have found the perfect place to relax in the park on the ultimate bench. Unfortunately, Tam and Winston have the same idea. And also, Isa receives bad news about her estranged husband, Harry.
I think this is smashing for me just because Harry died.
Fucking
What intense that, Goggsy?
This content comes with a warning.
You hate Isa, you hate her husband. Who do you like for that family?
Someday in Isa's life dies, Gogsy's like, brilliant.
Anyway, on to you going.
Is that all
For
you've got
me-
to say about it?
Alright, okay. I hate Harry, so it was a good episode.
For me, obviously Harry dies, right? And it's when the
you know.
No. The Bean's trying to tell Isa, look, you need to like grief out, it helps and all that. And he's trying to comfort her. And Isa's like clearly no grieving because Harry was a dick, let's be honest, right? And then the Bean just starts greeting about his uncle anywhere.
That's the one where that Ned comes into the shop with the cream eggs? No, the mini eggs. Mini eggs. I'm not giving my being hot mini eggs.
And then
Could
they're
put
like,
the methadone in there as well. Fucking sorry, that was my Naveed. Brilliant. And then can I just cut to the park though, which is the main plot of the episode? For me, and I'm not just saying this because I'm disabled, it's the wee guy with the walking stick that makes it for me. Because I can imagine being that raging, like he's walked like a T-Rex all the way to this bench. Somebody stole his seat and be like,
and then it's when Jack and Victor go, too slow.
Big Charlie as well, that he only ever appears in one other episode, the Hogmanay one. Breaks the lift. But he also tries to always. I need to sit down.
Gotta be that swag under the crack of my arse. I'm gonna kick these off and say this is another smashing episode. To be honest.
Yeah.
I put this as the Bollocks in capital letters. I love it. It's one of my favourites. I think it's probably my favourite out of season 6.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with Fraz. I think I'm going to go with smashing on this one. Goggsy, what do you think?
Smashing because of Harry's death.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said that.
Do you know what else is a really funny bit? Remember when they're all sitting outside the Klansman and Eric goes, they're watching the kids for the fire hydrant, and Eric's like, I was in the fire brigade. I'm going to say something, and then Eric gets fucking thrown like 50 feet away by the water for the hydrant.
Right, it's a good. It is a very solid episode. Sorry, Stevie, you've been outvoted again.
I'm getting used to this. It's fine, mate.
We have to put it in smashing.
Hashtag free kill Willie.
Moving on. Episode 2, Fly Society. Jack and Victor get a taste of how the other half live when they pose as two wealthy socialites to impress a couple of widows. But the gang from Craig Lang are not happy at missing out. And I know before that I've even talked about this episode that Fraz is putting this is the Bollocks.
I fucking love this episode. This is my number one, like, of all time. Like, I've like, if you put a list, Fly Society, number one. Like, just everything about it, how it like, you know, Jack and Victor think they're onto like a sure thing, and then Winston, Tam, and Isa get involved, and then it turns out that the woman that they're trying to impress don't have two bob either, and then the guy that's trying to rat them out as well, he's a no use at all. So,
oh, brilliant!
So, like, I mean, yeah, it's just a brilliant episode from start to finish, to be honest. So, top tier and beyond.
I love how, like, when they're playing charades, right? Like, Tam just shouts, Jaws, right?
What are you doing, you imbecile? Can't you receive a receiving gift?
And then Winston brings him in, bend over, and then just fucking...
Steady on, old boy.
Oh, man, just takes it too far. Brilliant. And then, obviously, when Jack and Victor try the shooting as well.
Jack and Victor... Remember the bit when it's like, This is Jack and Victor Pidlington.
Unusual name, Pidlington.
Snargleford. What's that doesn't make your unusual name make you two arseholes.
Yeah. So that doesn't make your stupid second name make you two pricks.
That's it.
But honestly, this is the Bollocks for me as well. Goggsy, what do you think?
I was going to put it in smashing, but I think I'm going to be outvoted here.
Yeah, I think it has to go top tier. It's just, Series 6 as a whole is just unbelievable.
It's
I think.
another level, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's just brilliant. And then that moves us perfectly on to episode 3, which is Lights Out. After an accident at the local substation involving a runaway lorry, Craig Lang is plunged into darkness. After a crime wave occurs, the vulnerable pensioners start to taking radical measures to protect themselves from the night crawlers.
Do you know what? I'm going to say that this is a Merest Danger episode. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of like good individual. Remember when Jack and Victor, of course, they're in the dark and they're playing Operation.
I got that.
No, the bit when it's like Tam draws the fiver. And he's like, there's money we saved in a power cut, and then he's like, no one here, and there's no one here. There's no Tam, and it hands him like drawing a fiver.
That's a drawing of a fiver, Tam. You're what? Oh, brilliant. It's just that when Shug's saying and all that they're not going to be, they better get back to their houses or why end up getting burgled. I don't talk a lot of pish. And then Bobby's like, where's my charity hang with the hat? Where's that guy with the hat? And then just runs out. Shug's just sitting there like,
Yeah, I think we've talked a wee bit about after credits on this. I think it really sort of summarizes the episode really well. With it's a running gag throughout the episode that they bullshit what happened to how the power went out, and it gets to the end where Jack and Victor said that 7 people got knocked over, we knew 2 of them, blah blah blah, and then it was like, what do you make of that, eh? And they're actually speaking to the guy that was responsible for putting the power out in the first place. He's like, oh, incredible, eh?
Can I say what I think? See when they turn the radio on, they put the batteries in the radio to try and find out what's happening. And then Ida opens the wire box and she gives him a perfect description of what happened, and Victor's like, there you go, Jack, you get information out your bastard wire box and you do this radio.
The one other thing that they haven't talked about in the description is the fact that Joe moves in below Winston as well.
Aye.
Before we go on a wee bit, can we just highlight the scene? Remember where obviously it's in the photo, Isa's blue face.
Yeah,
when Naveed's it's like, who is it? Who is it? It's like, Mel Gibson. You take that leg. You'll never take my hand back. It's just that beautiful relationship that Naveed has with Isa, always taking the piss out of her, and that was just the pinnacle of it. But it's still a Merest Danger episode for me, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Goggsy, the floor is yours. You haven't really said much so far on this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've got much left to add. I mean, Fraz bringing up the thing about Mel Gibson. I mean, I completely forgot about that, and that was probably one of my favourite parts of the episode. But yeah, the fact that everything came in full circle when they were talking to the guy that actually caused the power cut as well. That, as I've said before, my favourite type of joke is when something starts and then the end of the story is back to the original punchline, which is the guy that caused the power cut. So
yeah,
for me, I mean, although there's so many good bits, for me, because of the standards we're up against here, it's Merest Danger for me.
Stevie, what do you think in terms of the tier list?
Merest Danger. I still think it's top end in Merest Danger though.
I think you've been harsh on this episode. I was going to say top tier.
Okay.
Merest Danger it is, but I think this is a brilliant episode. I mean, we've talked about it for ages. I think it's a really good episode, but it's a democracy. Okay, move on to episode 4, which is Seconds Out. When a new pizza shop opens in Craiglang, Bobby the barman and Stevie the bookie battle it out for the affection of the new pizza girl. Jack and Victor are hell-bent on getting free pizza now that Winston works there also.
This is another guest starred episode. You got Jim White, the boxer, the former boxer. Jim White's the Mantis guy. Jim Watt, the boxer. And you've also got Michelle McManus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very star-studded episode. It's a very good episode as well, I think. Just Jack and Victor trying their luck to get free pizza in every way possible. Throwing a wardrobe in front of the scooter.
No.
Yeah. Can I kick things off and say, for me, this is one of my favourite episodes. I'm putting it in This Is the Box just because we've got the 2 guest stars. You've got the boxing match, and the fact that they almost called Jim Watt an arsehole as well, at the start.
We thought you were an arsehole because Bobby always gets an arsehole to do his job.
You can see Jack looking at him trying to get him to laugh along, and Jim Watt's just like, you bastard.
But you're not an arsehole, it's fine.
The ending for me where Stacey turns out to be Jim Watt's daughter. Brilliant. Ma, Stacey!
and he ends up hitting the both of them. you know what was a good bit as well? Remember when Jack and Victor take their seats at the fight, and then Tam's like, "Hey, we've got a book going, boys," and it's like, "Who's the favourite?" Stevie by a long shot, and they both give him 10 quid, and it's like, "Come on, Bobby, sir."
I And also, it was the clip. It was a quote of, I don't know which one you wanna win because they're both an arsehole or something like that. I can't remember the direct quote.
So, Goggsy, you've went top tier.
Top tier.
Fraz and Stevie, what do you think?
I would have put it in smashing, but again, it's a democracy, so.
No, I agree with smashing. Top end of smashing, I'd say, to be honest.
Yeah. I would probably on the verge of saying this is the bollocks. I think I'm with Goggsy on this, but I think top end of smashing, I'm quite happy to put it in. I think it's a really good episode. And now we move on to my favourite ever Still Game episode, Hyper. Naveed's business is suffering at the hands of the new corporate giant Hyper deals, and his regular customers' loyalty is put to the test. Meanwhile, an electric shock causes Tam to go through some bizarre changes in behaviour. And eventually, Naveed cracks and tries to burn down Hyper deals, causing him, Jack, Victor, Winston, and Tam to be locked in for the night. So I have to go with this is the bollocks, top tier for me. I don't think there's much else to be said. Unbelievable episode. Really, really enjoyed this episode, and I've watched it 25 times, maybe even more.
Well, I have to completely agree with you, Roscoe. This is my favourite episode as well. I've watched it a handful more times than anything else. Still game related. I mean, it's just the whole death of the high street type thing, and then like the reason why local shops are closing, it's because of these supermarkets undercutting everyone's products, etc. And it's just the whole story behind it. And one of my favourite quotes was when Naveed was hiding in the tent with the gas canister, and they're like, "What are you doing here, Naveed?" He says, "Camping."
This is where he's walking back camping.
Then Tam gets in. Oh, how much did this cost?
These are smashing.
How much are these?
Brilliant.
I think the storyline's just spot on.
Oh,
It's spot on. And then it culminates in the after credits of Tam buying a burnt tractor from the Hyperdale's fire sale as well.
Brilliant.
It's for me definitely this is the bollocks. If it isn't, then there will be a riot in Cooper.
Yeah, Stevie and Fraz, regardless of what you say here, this is going top tier. Like,
No,
so it's not a democracy then.
Where are you putting it then, Stevie?
I'm putting it in the bollocks, obviously. I was just
Exactly, so it doesn't even matter.
It's trying to be funny, alright?
Sorry, Fraz, what were you going to say there?
This is my number 2 of all time, and yeah, definitely is like it's just Tam. You know how his character changes, how he goes from like not wanting to spend money to like remember he buys Winston a T-bone steak, the jacket, and then the fucking big fridge, and just everything that Tam doesn't usually do, he's doing. And it's just a brilliant episode, you know, like the whole like plot of like Naveed trying to fund in like a big warehouse supermarket. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's also the birth of the remember when they have the chocolate chip cookies, he's like, that's strange, I can only taste 3. Oh, there's the 4th. Love you, Daddy.
And that's obviously the Et 2 thing as well.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say that, man.
Sorry, Stevie, the floor is yours.
No, it's alright. I never ate to anything.
We just stand in the back.
I love how like Eyes is just still dead upset in that scene. You can still incorporate human into the scene. Brilliant.
I never ate to anything. It's for Caesar. You've portrayed him. You're a dirty Judas.
Grab them in the back.
No, what he's trying to say. Stabbed him right in the back.
Get it in the top tier.
Has to go top tier. Has to. And then we move on to episode 6, which is Recipe. Jack and Victor discover that Pete the JK was the inventor of the famous Beefy Bake, and meanwhile, Tam and Francis are having marital problems.
I'll start things off. This is one of my favourite episodes. Again, just the whole trial over just a simple Beefy Bake. The fact that Henderson was an arsehole and just treated him really badly.
Let me guess, Goggsy, you don't like him.
I didn't like it. No, he's a big corporate arsehole, mate. But like, I mean, in the end, Pete got a settlement of just getting whiskey every day or something like that. But for me, I'd have. In fact, I'll change it to top end of smashing for me, because that is probably my favorite part of the episode. Just the whole trial. Like, I wasn't too interested in the subplot. It was just the main plot for me.
Okay.
Do you remember my favourite bit of the trial? Like, remember the episode? Pete's actually off the drink for the majority of the episode.
Yeah.
And then remember, Henderson and Pete meet in the toilet. So there's like, your ass is collapsing, Henderson. And then like they come up with this settlement, and then like it's like, are you happy with the settlement, Mister? What's a? And then he's like, as happy as a gypsy, we stuck with 2 cocks.
Mr. McCormick.
That's it. Are you happy with the settlement, Mr. McCormick?
Is a gypsy's dog with
You can take your wig off. The party's over.
Can I just say that on observation of this video, I think we should have an arsehole tier specifically for Goggsy. That's me not saying Goggsy's an arsehole, just the amount of people that Goggsy thinks is an arsehole and still came. But no, I'd probably agree with smashing. It's just obviously when Pete's trying to fight the urge to drink whiskey as well in the pub, can I have a orange juice?
And it's like, we'll do whiskies. I want large ones.
We'll do whiskies. Large ones. I large ones.
A pint and all. Brilliant. Aye, smashing for me.
Yeah. Fraz, what did you say? I don't think you did. You said.
I think this is another top tier episode, to be fair. I mean, like, what are the chances that you get 2, like, well, you get like 3 really good episodes in a series?
Yeah.
But top tier for me, like.
Yeah. I was going to say top tier as well. I think this is a cracking episode.
Even
again,
the photo I was going to say, even the photo you've got there, it's just basically Jack and Victor holding Pete up.
Yeah. Where do we put it, guys? Do we put it in smashing, or do we put it in this is the bollocks?
You could put it at the bottom of this is the box.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, Stevie, you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Good. Okay, so we'll put that into top tier. Okay, episode 7, 1 in, 1 out. Tam and Francis enjoy fame and fortune with their new addition, but it means babysitting stints for Jack and Victor, which is proving a bit of a strain, as both wind up in hospital and Jack is diagnosed with a life-threatening condition. Could this be the end for the duo?
I'll kick these off and say that this is probably, of the episodes that we've covered, this is probably the worst. I mean, imagine that, trying to kill off one of the characters. But the only saving grace of this episode is not fucking Lorraine Kelly, but back off, you spooky bitch.
which is in the picture that we've provided here as well.
Yeah, that's probably the only like good, solid part of the episode. The rest of it is just absolute shite.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm going to probably have to say, probably the bottom end of Merest Danger. To be honest,
I think you're being quite. What's the word? Like, you're being quite positive about it. I think that's plenty, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Roscoe. I would agree with you.
Right.
I just when you see, I know that we shouldn't compare episodes to episodes and look at the episode as a single thing, but when you think of how good season 6 was, to end it like this is just a bit naff.
Yeah, and to be fair, I just think it's the storyline's not great, but I think there is moments in there that's quite good.
See, remember the episode Wireless that we talked about in the previous episode? How Tam was supposedly a hospital radio DJ. They miss a great opportunity here in not putting him in as hospital radio DJ, and even having like a potential mention of him in passing when they're both in the hospital.
It's a good point, actually. It's a fair point.
Because it was a continued on this thing about Tam being a hospital DJ, despite of them being mentioned
Despite
it.
that coming from
A one
absolutely
episode thing.
Aye.
But
Even-
for me, I think because they've not got any continuity at all, that's plenty for me. The only saving grace of this episode is the fact that Jack was still alive, and Victor saying "back off, you spooky bitch."
Where the hell are you going?
It's good to see Goggsy positive about somebody not dying for the change. But no, I think my favourite bit in the episode was obviously when Victor says he's going to go and get Jack a selection of his favourite stuff. And Jack wakes up the next morning. Victor's obviously blacked out. They need to check him and all. And he's like, so I didn't get any of my stuff. Right? And he's pure raging. That's like his first answer rather than, are you alright?
You silly bastard. That's me with no jammies and jelly babies.
Do you remember the bit when Tam and Francis and Tam Jr. are on Lorraine Kelly, and Tam ends up getting the show like stopped? He was like, we can't actually give that out. He's like, just give the door a wee shove. The doorbell's not working.
So Stevie, where would you put it on the tier list?
I'm gonna go. That's plenty.
Yeah. I think. I mean, Fraz, you said bottom end of Merest Danger, so you're not exactly far off with that anyway. We're kind of all on the same wavelength with that one. So that ends series 6, and we then move on to the Christmas special of that one, which is called Plum Number. Jack and Victor join the local choir. Meanwhile, Winston offers to cover for the Lollipop Man, who's away in hospital, and also Bobby gets a new puggy for the Klansman that boasts a jackpot of £1,000.
This is the one with them working out.
Clickers.
With the clickers. Edith winning the jackpot in the end, but also my favourite part of it is Winston picking up all these gifts from the sort of private school kids. So there's a lot in this episode that I really enjoyed. So for me, I'm going to put it in smashing because just the way everything comes together in the end.
I'd agree with that, to be honest. Remember also Winston starts out at the private school and then he ends up getting like demoted to, like, as he says, I went from Beverly Hills to Beirut in one move. Goes to, is it Willow Park? Where the Janet even carries a knife.
Yeah, he's at Willow Park and then he ends up at Park Mill Secondary.
That's it. But it's just a really solid episode. Because remember, Edith wants to be in the choir, but then like she wins the jackpot, and that's how like she gives the guy who's the conductor of the choir like the jackpot as our buy-in.
Yeah. And then that's obviously the one as well where Jack and Victor clear out the spare room in the Klansman and they find the dog that's been sitting there for like 20 years. It's Goggsy said smash it. I'd actually be tempted to maybe put it up to This Is the Bollocks, but I don't know.
I'll go smashing. I think the boys have covered it pretty well, to be honest. I'd probably say tap end of smashing for me.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
I've no issues with that, to be honest. I think it's a brilliant episode. We'll put it at the top now just for argument's sake. Right, so then we move on to the final episode before they take a hiatus for a number of years. And it's now the Hogmanay special of that year called Hootenanny. Jack, Victor, Winston and Tam decide to spend their Hogmanay in a cottage in the remote island of Taignahoolish. Meanwhile, in Craig Lang, Naveed's wife Mina has gone on holiday to India, leaving Naveed to enjoy a brief taste of single life.
Happy New Year, you bunch of sheep shaggers!
I love this. This was actually the first ever episode of Still Game I watched.
Was it?
Yeah, because of course I was a late bloomer to the show, and the Happy New Year, you sheep shagging bastards. That was one of the main quotes I remembered. I also remember the Nattergy with Mina. that whole story was I just found really funny. So for that one. I want it in This Is the Bollocks because this is what hooked me on Still Game.
I love it as well. It's just, as Goggsy says in that other thing, it all comes about because Eric, aye, Naveed, why don't we go up to yours? Say just sitting ourselves, have a wee natter. Natter G!
He throws the dart at the thing, the picture of him that's pinned up on the wall.
And then, I keep thinking about right at the end when they go, and now over to India where it's already midnight and it's Mina dancing with Nataji.
I just find it funny how they're sitting in the Veed's house and they're all saying nothing, and then they go, "That's a nice telly set you've got there." Aye. Do you use it much? Only when I want to watch television. Do you want to put it on now? Thank Christ. What? That's nice.
That's nice.
telly.
Obviously, you've got Victor the first time they get kicked out the pub. You never seen a 20 quid note before, son.
Or remember, like when they're on it, it's like, look at that. Gary Glitter. I was like, and what's wrong with Gary Glitter? I was like, what happened to him?
And the wee guy trying to fix the telly, you know, and then they get it working at the end. It's aerial, it's always the bloody aerial.
It's not broken. No, what is it? He says, it's not broken. It's not broken, I just can't get a picture on it.
It works fine. I just can't get a picture on it.
It's more of a hobby, really.
I'd be inclined to agree with This Is the Bollocks. This is probably a very good end to the first part of the series.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Discussing this episode has changed my mind on my favourite Hogmanay episode, I think.
Yeah.
Aye, because when you think about it, you can't put this in. This Is the Bollocks.
Yeah, I think we're all unanimous on this. It has to go at the top. Brilliant, a really good way to end it all. It's just a shame that it kind of stopped for goodness knows how many years when they were at probably the funniest. I think, to be honest. Okay, so in terms of sort of where things are placed, we're quite happy with obviously having that one, and that's plenty. Do we need to swap the Smoke on the Water and Lights Out around, or is that right where it is?
I think that's fine, actually.
That's pretty spot on, I think.
Yeah, okay. So then we've got Smashing. We've also got quite a few episodes in here that we need to kind of go over.
Yeah, so scale it down, streamline it.
Yeah,
Right.
can we
Yeah.
put drama in This Is the Bollocks?
Promote it.
Bottom end, though.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We talked about the Plum Number Christmas special. I think I'm quite happy having that there. I think it's probably the best out of all that's there. I think Hot Seat needs to move up.
I think Fresh Flick needs to move up as well, to be honest. I think Flick's ahead of Seconds Out.
As long as you move Hot Seat up, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Hot Seat needs to move up.
Yeah. I think in terms of the two series we're speaking about, I think the New Year one has to move down compared to like Hot Seat and stuff.
Yeah.
I think Hot Seat needs to go sort of there, I would say. It's hard.
I would put Hot Seat above Seconds Out.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, quite happy with that. Is there anything else that needs to move around in there?
Quite happy with that.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I'll ask you all individually. What's your favourite episode of the two series? So, Fraz, I know your answer. Goggsy, what's your favourite?
Hyper. It's got to be Hyper.
Okay, and Stevie?
I like the recipe, but Hyper. Probably.
Hyper, so I think Hyper has to go at the top then. And then what we'll do is we'll put Fly Society second because that's Fraz's favourite. And then maybe Recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy with that.
Then I'd be inclined to maybe move Hootenanny over Saucy.
I go with that. As long as
That's you
Harry's
screwing
still-
your face up.
I mean, it's just a solid 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of we probably could argue all day. I think we have to leave it like that because I think we could argue all day.
Wait, that batch of 6 episodes could make an absolute killer series.
Yeah, I know. If drama and Saucy was in series 6, that would have made one hell of a series. Yeah,
I mean, it had to have its own video. I mean,
yeah. It's I don't think many people watching this video will argue with that either, to be honest. So there we have it. The series 5 and 6 episode tier list. Pop your lists in the comments below. Thanks to Lawrence, Loyal and Bone for coming on again. Go subscribe to both Goggsy and Stevie, and then sub to Fraz once he finally decides to get his channel going. And also, if you haven't or don't already know, all of us feature on Pass the Mic as well on Goggsy's channel. We basically do live watch-alongs of the Scottish football matches. So if you're into that kind of stuff and you haven't heard of it, go and stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, that's about a wrap, folks. Cheers for coming on to you guys, and cheers for you to watching as well. Thank you.